Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Dun, dun, dun. Come on. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Ah! Some say we got a lot of manners, and some say we got a lot of nerve. I say we won't quit moving until we get what we deserve. We've been beat, we've been stomped, we've been feeling bad. Devil's meat is it takes two eyes to make a pass. But brothers, we won't quit until we get our share. Say it loud. I wouldn't replace that word with gay and proud because people get offended. I'm here to talk about Miss Fox Soul, Miss Claudia Jordan, and also Al Reynolds. But let me say good morning first. Hi, Miss Princess A. Mocha Drop. I am Miss Ricks. Hi, Almond Brown. Are you finishing up today? Hope so. Wild Seed. Sherry Morrison, Alfreda Groves. How y'all doing? Miss Sherry. Well, people, I just want to say this. Sable Winters and Sharita Hall. Hi, Miss Dovey. Black Before Beauty. Excuse me. Thank you. Yes, the last reading tonight. Y'all watch Almond Brown now. Y'all can get the last reading of the last book in the series Love and Gospel Music, a ghost story. You can get the last chapter tonight. She's finished that whole series. I'm so proud of her. Thank you, Almond Brown. Hi, Nikki with the eye patch balloon. I started singing because Miss Claudia Jordan, apparently her and Al Reynolds don't understand why people have to have pride in anything. They don't think they should come out the closet. Why? I don't care nothing about I don't care about what you do in the bedroom. I don't care about you. That's the point. You don't care, girl. Claudia Jordan, I know you're not a homophobe, but I was so disappointed in your statements on today. Or maybe you recorded them yesterday. Your statements and also Al Reynolds. Now, let's start with Al, brother Al. Al Reynolds is the man who was married to Star Jones, right? Now, he builds himself as I think he still says he's a bisexual man who has recently come out the closet. So he's on here saying, isn't this passe? Why we got to come out the closet? He already talking about, right? I think it's just so behind us. We got to move on. Al Reynolds. Without a civil rights movement, there will be no civil rights for Black people. Without a woman's movement, there will be no voting rights or plain, normal, regular rights for women. Everything requires a movement, a place and time. The Bible says there's a time for everything. And this is the time. I found it strange that you people have chosen Gay Pride Month to have this asinine conversation about we don't have to come out the closet. We don't have to have no pride. And you are a man who just came out the closet just now. So what are you, 40, 45 years old? You're just not coming out, girl. And you're telling everybody else to stay in the closet. Have you forgotten the pain, honey? So this is what I want to talk about. First of all, I want to say, if you don't know anything or something about something, it's better off to just shut up about it on the subject, right? Until you find out better. But to hear Claudia Jordan, did I move on? No, let's finish with Al first. Al, you should have married that woman for her clout or money, right? And you coming on here and you just come out, but Al, honestly, the moment I saw you, first time I saw you, he gay. He gay. Now, are you encouraging the youth, the young people to be insecure about their sexuality, insecure about their existence, insecure about their relationships until they're your age, 45 years old, before they finally figure out who the hell they are? No, I think it's much better that they find out who they are right now. Right? And yes, we haven't our say it loud period. This is a point in time, honey. Right. The people still need to come out of the closet. Why? Because when you come out of the closet and people realize not something new, something that's been around forever. There are gay people. Some people are gay. See, this denial based on this book that y'all call God has crippled society for years and years, a millennia, right? Always pretending it doesn't exist. So, Al Reynolds, I guess you don't remember what it was like when you knew all about your sister's relationships, and you knew all about your cousins' relationships, and you knew all about your uncle's relationships, and you knew all about your mama's relationships or lack thereof, and your grandmama's relationship, and everybody knew everything about everything, except nobody knew a goddamn thing about you. Why? Because you are a lesser person. Your life does not matter, right? You don't understand. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing from him. Well, he's been in the closet his whole life, so he's another Jay Wilson. But and then Claudia trying to have all these strong opinions about people having pride or people coming out. I mean, this is supposed to be great Gay Pride Month, and you come out with this bullshit, right? Oh, you leading with your sexuality. You leading with your girl. Ain't nobody leading with shit. We're simply trying to tell you the truth. So we don't have the highest numbers of suicides in the goddamn country, girl. We're not talking about grown people here, girl. Frankly, older people don't give a shit. They already had a whole lifetime to figure it out, girl. But there are people who are coming out right now. People who are struggling to come out right now. People who are scared of what they say around their family because they might sound gay right now, right? People who have their parents have agreed to finance their education until they find out he gay. All of a sudden, they have a change of heart now. They've changed their whole way of thinking about this person because they're gay. Why? Because y'all made gay so strange. It ain't strange. It's reality, girl. It ain't nothing but reality. Some people are homosexual. So, yes, we have to come out and we got to say it loud. Gay and proud. I'm sorry that offends you, Miss Claudia. But you sit up here, you done chose these two well, we can't give it to Funky that neither. He did his best to try to explain what the situation is in the couple of minutes he was allotted. Bigger conversation than that, right? Sometimes people will ask me, Timothy, we know you're old now, but at one point you came out too, right? How did your family feel when you came out? You know what I'm telling them? Honest answer. I never asked them. I never asked them. Baby, the moment I was of legal age, girl, I took off like there was lightning bolts firing off in my asshole. I'm just telling you the truth. I don't want to hear that shit. I sat up under them churches and listened to this bullshit, girl, for an entire all the way up until I was 18, 19 years old, child. I already know what you think. I don't care. I don't care, right? Because I'm not gonna let you diminish me with your opinions. So even now, girl, they don't really know me. They don't know a damn thing about me. Only people in my family who know anything about me are people who watch YouTube. Oh, that's him? Oh, we didn't know that part of him. Oh, I didn't know that about it. You never asked, and I was never going to tell you anything about myself because I'm not standing for nobody else's judgment over my life. I've chosen to move to the big city. Now, was the one time that all the gays would go run immediately to the big cities, right? Or the majority would, right? I ran to Los Angeles first, and then I'm here. I've been here for 44 years in California, right? Why? Because I didn't want to be I wanted to be with other people like myself, right? That's what it comes down to. I want to be around other gay people because now here I am, an old man. I can live anywhere in the world. Hell, I'm not going to the clubs. I'm not shaking it and breaking it down, girl. I ain't swinging on no pole or nothing like that. Right? It's a very youthful type thing. But I'm still more comfortable in my life around people like myself, girl. And that shouldn't have to be. You should be comfortable any goddamn where. And I got news. The world is changing. I'm sure if you go to Columbus, Ohio, they got gay, straight alliances in their schools, right? You can't turn the television on. You got people there who are out and gay, right? So eventually what it's going to become is it's not going to be that big a deal, right? But you're not going to accomplish that without the movement. If it wasn't for Martin and the others who marched with him and stood up and had a civil rights movement in the 60s, child, then we wouldn't exist as the people we are today, right? Somebody had to stand up and be counted. Now, Miss Claudia, she think it's so easy. Oh, what's the big deal? I don't see what the big deal. Miss Claudia, can you imagine what it's like to be a transgender person? Growing up in the school system? Try to imagine that, girl. You are born male, but everything in you screams female, right? How you gonna hide that from the monsters in school, girl? Right? What about when you go get a job, Miss Claudia? What about when you go and try to get a job, Miss Claudia? You think it ain't no big deal? Now we know that sexuality and gender identity are not the same thing, but they are under the same umbrella, girl. The umbrella is different. Correct, Claudia? Also, you too, Al. I was so disappointed in both of you. Al, you need to shut up. Shut the hell up. We don't need to be encouraging nobody else to stay in the closet, girl. If you don't want to get on the train, on the soul train, honey, just take your ass and go sit down or go marry another woman for her money. I guess she went for it. I don't know how she could miss that, but Al, you're gay. When you still claiming that you're bisexual, and I'm not saying that they're not bisexual people, but you're not giving me bisexual tease. How y'all doing today? What else happened? Now, okay, so I was going back and forth between Claudia and him, right? This is gay pride, right? We want to see pride is for the young people. That's what it's about. These old queens on here, girl. Nobody gives we don't care anymore, right? We've already come to terms with it. Most of us, Al. Most of us didn't wait for our 40s and 50s, girl. But what I'm saying is this: there are people who are still struggling with their identity, right? And they need to be able to be gay because that's who they are. Whenever you're suppressing something, then all kind of destructive behavior pops out of that, girl, because you're suppressing. You're always hiding. You're always saying, oh no, my relationships don't matter. My feelings don't matter. My differentness does not matter. So just keep it quiet and just sit in the back and just watch them. I guess Miss Claudia said, well, you're here. You can do my hair and you can do my nails. And they didn't have enough time to talk this thing out. And we are glad, Miss Claudia, that you did at least admit that you were drinking. I don't know what time of day it was, but were you drunk? Is that the issue? Because this is not the right conversation, girl, for Pride Month, right? If you don't want to encourage people to have pride in who they are, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing, girl. Let them go ahead and have their parades. Let them go ahead and be happy about who they are, girl. Maybe we can lower the number of suicides this year. Anyway. Well, they've always, I mean, the show is a gay show. I mean, I'm not calling a woman F hag or anything, but basically, I mean, she's in between two gay men, honey. So this just comes out of left field. Why I got to know about your sexuality? Why I got to know about, I don't care about but you do care, girl. It's written in the Bible. Out of all the pages and all the things that are written in the Bible, ask the average straight person what they remember from the Bible. God don't like gays, right? They turned all of that book, all 600 and something, 620 laws, they focused in on one. And that's all they know about the Bible. It starts from, what are your grandparents going to teach you when they've been taught that shit their entire life on the subject of sexuality? They don't know anything else. They've been taught this since they were little babies, girl. And the parents and everyone else. And so when these kids are thrown into the streets, Miss Claudia, at 13 and 14 years old, and they're out there on the street selling their asshole, girl, because their mama don't want them and their daddy don't want them, and they don't want nobody to know, and it's all a secret, and nobody will care what you, I'm gonna get the hell out of my house, not in my house, not in my house. You want to stay stuck there, Miss Claudia? Obviously, you're not in tune with the gay experience. So why are you talking about it, girl? Right? Leave that conversation to the gays, to somebody who knows what it is. I can believe you are so dense on the subject. Now, Funky Dineva, he was, I guess, throwing a curveball. I'm sure he was just as shocked at some of their attitudes as I am now. He was saying that on a workplace that everyone will be coming at him with questions about a fake life, about kids, about sports, about the things that straight people talk about, you know, and he would feel uncomfortable because he doesn't have any children, or he's not part of the lifestyle kind of thing, right? So he's much more comfortable being out, so people at least know that he is gay. He don't got to pretend to be straight. So I guess the pretense is the part that gets to him, right? My ideas are more about people who are younger and trying to figure themselves out, and many of them don't figure themselves out, and they literally, even today, will kill themselves because they feel like it's the worst thing in the world to be gay. Why? Because of the book. What the word said it. The word that was written by men who had absolutely no knowledge. Then people couldn't even read, honey. They had absolutely no knowledge of what a homosexual was. So whoever put it in the book, girl, that's the one to put it in the book. It wasn't God, because God created life, right? And if it exists in nature, then obviously a God created it. Or are all these hundreds and thousands and millions of people marching all over the goddamn world? Was that all a mistake? Is God making mistakes of that huge, honey? No, it's just a reality that people have chosen to deny. So what we're saying is, coming out is a good thing because it normalizes what is in nature. It's just the real thing, honey. Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Ain't nothing like the real thing. I got your number, Claudia Jordan, and you too, Al Reynolds. I know who you are. I realize. Listen, Al, bring your ass all the way out. If you are bisexual, then be a bisexual. If you are gay, be gay. Stop the pretense. Stop pretending to be something that you're not, because it causes you internal pain, right? Some people will turn to drugs because they're so unhappy. Why? Because they've been told they're supposed to be unhappy, right? They've never been encouraged to do shit. So I think it's a good thing that the world has changed, baby. It's going to change with or without you, girl. Right? Now, when you talk to young people these days, they know what gay is. See, we didn't know. We were still hiding, honey. Every man for himself. Now these young people, I can only speak up what's around me, but they got a whole gay high schools and alumni, when they mix them together kind of thing. And they just know what gay is. It's gay everywhere you go. Gay in the store, gay on the sidewalk. Everywhere you go, it's gay, gay, gay. Right? And what does it mean? Absolutely nothing. What is it good for? Absolutely. It's just normal, honey. It ain't nothing but normal. Right? So when they say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Why shouldn't we say it loud? We gay and we proud. Why shouldn't you be gay? You should be proud of whoever God has assigned you to be, right? That's who you are. And you should stand up and be counted. We should realize, you look at all them newscasters that come out the closet, child. Did anybody ever suspect that all them newscasters were gay? I mean, there's so many of them, child. It's a big percentage of them that's gay. And I'm sure there's behind the scenes in politics, whole lot of gay. They're just gay, gay, gay everywhere, child. But we always have to deny it. Don't say anything about it. Oh, it's a major scandal. Oh, you touched a man in grade school. We found out about it. You don't understand it, Claudia, because you're not it. Talk about issues that you know about. If you don't know about it, either you can investigate, you can learn, choose to learn about it, or you can just shut the hell up on the subject, girl. I'm so disappointed in you. But I will acknowledge that you said you're drinking. So I don't know what the issue is there. You got to come online. You can't stop drinking for a few minutes, girl. I don't know what it is, honey. What y'all think? It's Gay Pride, great Gay Pride Month. I'm just saying, honey, be who you are. You're standing strong and tall. You're the bravest of them all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a time when black people wearing the big Afro wigs, everything was soul brother this, soul brother that, right? I'm black and I'm proud. I'm saying it loud. I'm black. There was a time, girl. It was called the Civil Rights Movement, child. And without it, we wouldn't exist the way we exist now, because they could have perpetuated that forever, right? Because that's what the words say. Slaves, obey your master. The words, the most violent book known to mankind. Does that make it right? Slaughtering people, taking their pigs and chickens. Is that because it was the reality of 6,000 years ago? Does that make it right now? I'm just asking. Mm-hmm. Yes, and then the trans people, they're going to become more visible, right? A lot of the of our pride, our movement started with Stonewall, where the transgenders are the ones stood up. They were the most visible, and they were being the most harassed. Why can't people go through life without being harassed for who they are? Claudia, Al. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Why you got to tell people you gay? Or what? I don't see what the big deal is. Why are you talking about what you had for sex? What you did? It's not sexual. Girl, gay is not only having sex. Okay? I haven't had sex in at least 15 years. And I'm not even a pinch less gay than I ever was. I'm not more or less gay than I was when I was having sex 2 or 3 times a day. That's gay is my existence, girl. It is your attraction. Your attraction does not leave you. Even when you're a doddering old fool slobbering out the side of your mouth, you will still be attracted to certain kind of people physically. Now you ain't got to do nothing with them, but that's just essentially who you are. Right? Sometimes I ask God, I said, God, I'd rather just not even be bothered. I'm not doing anything. I mean, why I gotta be looking at these people all the time? But you still look. It's your attraction, girl. And there are other things tied into that other than just having sex. Right? Does anybody in the world think I'm not gay because I'm not having sex? The Bible is obsessed with sex. People didn't know any better, girl. They made everything about sex, trying to hold on to that land in the desert. God didn't say he didn't like gays. But that's what they said. They said because in the book, if anything that appears in that book, that's what God said. Songs, David talking, Paul just writing a letter, somebody, that's all what God said. Now, how do you get to there, honey? We are Christians, right? Something like 75, 80% of the Bible, of the New Testament, is written by Paul, right? Did Paul tell you he was writing the Bible? Or was Paul simply writing letters to churches because he was in charge of the churches, girl? Because he had been delivered, touched by Jesus Christ himself, girl, knocked off a borrow, changed his whole world. People can get delivered right now. I got delivered my own damn self, y'all. But these are just Paul writing letters. Now, y'all done took it because it appears in a book and made this is the word of God. What? How? Why? The book didn't even say that. Lots of damage has been done in the name of religion, and you don't understand it. You don't think of whatever the words say. Okay, look at the passages about slavery, because slavery, that was just a way of life in those times, right? Does that make it right now? I mean, the Hebrews weren't they mostly indentured slaves? Were they or were they not, honey? You deny the parts you don't want to hear. You don't care. Oh, that was different. That was different. How the fuck is it different? Ain't no different. Right? They took a couple of passages and enslaved our people and went over to Africa and got them and bought them, girl, like they're cattle. Oh, well, we don't listen to that part. Oh, that's just the old days. That's just this thing. As long as it doesn't apply to you, then you think it's the word of God, right? Anything you don't want to hear, you don't listen to. How much ham steaks do they sell to Americans, honey? Hams and sausages, and we all big as houses and all this shit. All that's in the Bible too. In the same area. Are we going to stone women because they had sex on their period? I mean, you might not like it. You might think, oh, you should wait. But we don't kill them, do we? Don't think I'm being silly. That's what they did. Look at her. We caught her in the very act. Any of y'all not seeing? Let me see one. Show me one of you who are not just as guilty, because one sin is no better than the other one, right? You can take what out of that Bible what you want to, but this is where a lot of this homophobia, they got the idea that they were supposed to persecute gay people, right? They go in there and they talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. Call it sodomizing now, right? The point of Sodom and Gomorrah was inhospitality to these strangers. The strangers were angels. The people in Sodom, the men of Sodom, would rape women or males. An act of rape is not an act of gay. They are two different things, girl. When a man walks into a prison and he is gang raped by, doesn't mean he's gay, but it's homosexual sex because they have abused this person. And that is what most of the references to homosexuality are in the Bible when they bother to even talk about it, girl, because you're only depending on these few people who could write, right? That's not gay. The situation in Sodom was not gay, because when the man would not let the angels out to be gang raped by all these people, he was willing to send his daughters out and let them rape my daughters. Right? So if they're gay, what are they raping daughters for? They raped everybody. It was an act of violence. Anyway, Al Reynolds, you don't know because you're a closet queen. You lived in your closet so long, girl, that you actually went pursuing women because you felt like you had to. And there was, let's face it, the woman was doing pretty well. Okay? But you ain't dealing with no gay issues because you always been in the closet, girl. That's why you hid. You hid and you ran. So when people talking about the hardships they had because they were gay when they were in school, you never experienced that, right? Because they never knew you were gay, right? Because you continued to hide. And is that where you see the future of gay people? Continuing to hide? I don't know what they talking about. Nobody never picked on me. No, because they didn't know, because you're a closet queen, girl. Some of us, I guess you would call it a blessing, were masculine as young people. I was a masculine young person. People did not know that I was gay on sight, just because this is who I am, right? I suspect that family members always suspected that I might be, but it was never spoken out loud. Well, there are some people who are naturally effeminate. In other words, they can't do nothing about it, honey. Ain't nothing they can do about it. And yes, they are bullied. And yes, they are many times put out on the street. Because if you notice Al Reynolds and that woman, Claudia Jordan, then whenever they make gay dramas, like for instance, Pose, they always take the time to show you the dysfunction of the families these people come out of when they have to form their own families in the streets. Right? You still don't understand Al Reynolds? You don't understand you didn't go through it. Of all the months on the planet, y'all choose this month to come out here and expose yourself. Y'all could have kept that to yourself. I'm way behind. Hold on. Don't you start, Squeenie. Squeenie. Next, we're going to have dog power. Y'all going to stand up. Take that leash off me. I understand, baby. The dogs are going to have their day, too. Mm-hmm. Hi, JJ. 1279 too. How y'all doing today? I was so happy. I like a pig in slop when I arrived in California, in Hollywood, child. And all the men just dancing to each other and things and being happy and smiling and things, honey. Because before it's all suppressed, right? Because you're constantly making sure nobody can see this. Nobody can see where my eyes are going. If a fine man walks in the room, you can't even acknowledge him, girl. No, no. Don't let them know, Al, right? Hiding. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Alfreda Gross. Mm-hmm. How you doing, Alfreda? McGruff, the crime dog. Is that your dog's name? Oh, McGruff, that's your whole site there. Okay. One of these days, them dogs gonna put that paw up. Let me go. Say it loud. I'm a dog and I'm proud. Dun-dun, dun-dun. Look at all the pleasure and the love I done brought to your asses all these years, only for your abuse, throwing me cheap dog food and bones. You want to gnaw on a bone? Let me see you gnaw on a bone. I'll be right there for you too, baby. Don't worry about it. Hi, Elaine. Your screen is frozen? Oh. My Wi-Fi is pretty good today. I don't know why it goes out, though. It sure does. So tight. Another shooting? God damn it. Uncle Tim was so right. Darn near 3 days later, another mass shooting. There'll be another one right by tomorrow. These people now they're just going crazy. Just one after another now. Mm-hmm. What are you talking about? Philadelphia? I can't hardly watch a Goonies Never Say Net Die because it doesn't change. You know, these government people that run their mouth, they don't do anything. Don't do anything about it. They got more guns in this country than they got people. Imagine that now. So if they gave a gun to every single living person in the United States, they'd still have a stockhold left, the leftovers, Gert. God says, who believes in me are saved. It's the whole point of the Christ. It is the whole point, honey. God has already saved me. He's already shown himself. For whatever millisecond it took to get that thing off my back, it happened. Now, someone wrote me today, and they said, I guess there's a lady on here called what's her name? Misunderstood. And the person who emailed me said that I should come and talk or encourage Misunderstood because I was a meth monster. And she's apparently struggling with that drug as well. Baby, you can't save other people. People have lost their kids. People have lost their marriages. They have lost their homes. They don't no longer speak to their family. They have ripped off their family. They've written checks on their mama's account and cleaned it out. All this in the name of doing drugs, right? Other people can't fix your drug problem. This woman, because she comes on YouTube and talks about her drug situation, I would say she's already made a major step because she can admit that there is a problem. Here's what the problem is. Just by her saying that there's a problem says that she has a desire for it not to be a problem, to get better. And she will. I think she will. This woman, I don't know her. I try to say all these women, y'all outnumber us by, I don't know, 100 to 2. Right? So all of these different girls, y'all all know each other's stories and so forth. I looked over there on her page briefly, and I see that she knows many of the same people I know, right? But I can't cure anybody. I can tell you to read Meth Monster. I can tell you to read Meth Monster because it is when I go to my reviews on that book, Meth Monster, all the people who do not believe in Jesus Christ or do not believe in the power of God, they all hated that book, right? Most people who read it say, oh, that's a powerful testimony. They liked it, right? Because I was able to be honest in the book. But when you don't believe and you're invested in your unbelief, you're not going to enjoy that. But what I found out on my own was that God does deliver people. It is a real thing. Baby, stop. Stop. Let me see if I can concentrate. It's a very real, and I think people should know that. Yeah, God can touch your life in such a way that you will never do drugs again. It is my testimony. It is my experience, honey. So many people will get into 12-step program because that's what they've been told is the only way for them to be clean, right? Just like churches always believe they're the only way and everybody else is going to hell. And they will believe that since I cannot get sobriety by being in a program where I just talk about drugs all the time and my experience with drugs, if that's not working for me, that means I'm a hopeless drug addict. No, it's not the truth. And that's what I try to express. Faith and faith alone in this story of the Christ saved my life. I'm just telling you the truth. Is what I know of God. No AA meetings, no nothing, honey. Right? God has delivered me. So you don't give up on people. I'm sure most of them gave up on me. I'm sure when I called my family, they said, "Nigga, you back in prison." I'm sure they had blessed, honey. When I told my mama I had HIV because I hadn't told her shit about it, right? First thing she wanted to do was start planning my funeral. She was planning my funeral, girl, 30 years ago. Yet here I is. Anyway, as far as this woman misunderstood, baby, I think it's a good thing that you can express what you're going through. It's terrible that people will jump on that and then you're all kind of whores and all this kind of stuff, girl. People talk rough on here, but don't be distracted because it's going to take whatever it takes. If it takes you getting off of YouTube in order for you to get clean, then that's what you have to surrender. For me, in order to get off of drugs, off of meth forever, I had to give up the idea of all this sex, right? Because that's the one thing that was abundant there. I had a whole lot of sex, girl. And when I stopped, sure enough, it dried up like the Mojave Desert. But the sacrifice was worth it for me because I gained my soul. Anyway, so good luck to you, lady. Misunderstood. Whatever. I guess they got all kind of entanglements with men and all that kind of stuff, John. I'm not going to go and research people's lives just for content. You know, I would tell you, read The Meth Monster. I think it will help you. It will inspire you to say that, well, you know what? It doesn't have to be one way. And that's what 12-step, that's my only gripe with 12-step, is they always made it sound like if you didn't go to 12-step meetings, then you were on a dry drunk. Well, I've been on a dry drunk then for 20 years. Right? People have different ways of getting clean. Some people, they go to therapy, they work on what is their trouble and their issue is, and therapy works for them to get them out of addiction. All the hippies, they all did drugs, you know. All the ones here on the Haight-Ashbury, they did drugs in their youth. It's a youthful thing. The only problem about drugs is they have the power and you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to be having the summer of love and just taking acid and getting high and going to the club every night and you're going to be fine. You don't know if you're going to do one drug and you're going to love it so much that you will never be able to function without it. You don't know. Don't know what I've been through. Let me tell my story to you. All the things. Better shut up. That's a real song, honey. Hi, Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy said, amen. Yes, Unc is real because he is real. There are many people, honey, will give you testimony about how God has delivered them from various things. God has delivered me because a man was coming home at night, and if my dinner was not to his liking, he would beat the shit out of me. And I took it. I took it for years. And then I found God, and I started believing God. And I said, God, help me, please. And God helped me to go into my bedroom, pack a small bag, get all three of my children together, get in a cab, and we ain't been back since, girl. We walked away from everything, including his ass. That's deliverance. God has helped you to do things that you could not ordinarily do by yourself. He's giving you strength because you believe that you are not alone in this. You see, the power is in the belief. You got to believe it. Now, that is one something I cannot put the Bible down at all for, right? Right? Because the story of the Christ, that is where your faith comes from. Because you believe that you are free, you are perfect in his sight. Whatever you did, whether you sold in booty and asshole and stole and whatever the hell you had to do all of your goddamn life, girl, it has all been worked out by God himself. And God said, believe in my son. This is my beloved son, in who I am well pleased. And according to the book you call God, that's the only thing he said in the New Testament. Believe in him. And the just shall live by their faith. That is my testimony, honey. And it ain't going to change. You reading my book now on Kindle, Mr. Ray 1? Which one? I wish people would read Love and Gospel Music. That's a powerful book, honey. And at the time I wrote it, of course, I didn't have an audience then. That's my real novel. That's my big novel. But that is just a really intense story. I think it's the best book I ever wrote. Right. But it didn't get readership then. And then it was overpriced because I was with one of these, what they call vanity presses, which I didn't realize that you shouldn't have touched a book. I didn't even know what a book costs because I didn't buy them. Right. And so that book has been underread. But Love and Gospel Music, the original novel, is a great book. Yeah, so on Math Monster, sometimes I go and read the reviews. They say don't read the reviews, girl. Either they love it or they hate it. The ones who don't believe, the ones who don't want to be bothered with religion, thinks it's all bullshit, they never like the book. They say, oh, you talk about Jesus, baby. If anyone should ever write my life story, oh, he'll be there between each line of pain and glory, because he's the best thing that ever happened to me. You can't tell my story without talking about God, honey. It's impossible for me to do. I would be lying if I came some other way. So I have to accept that some people are not going to like the book, child. Whatever. Hopefully you'll take away from this that it's not over. You are not a drug addict. You are a person got caught up in drugs. You do drugs, right? That does not mean that you have to surrender your life now that I am a crackhead. No, and that's not the truth, honey. You're somebody who did crack. And the way they talk about people on here is a damn shame, because as I recall, cocaine initially was for rich people, right? Y'all don't call them crackheads, but they were doing just as much drugs in Hollywood in the 70s, 80s as the people on the street. Paying a little bit more for it, but they drug addicts too, right? There are people on here online right now who drug addicts. They calling people meth monsters and shit, and they're blowing blunts out their goddamn mouth while they're saying it, girl. Whatever. All I can do is be grateful. Thank you, Tim. She got to hit rock bottom before she really wants to change. Trey, I think that's so terrible that we have to say that. And then your bottom, where's she at? Everybody's bottom is the same, right? You can be a wealthy white woman sitting up in the suburbs in a castle, honey, and you can still hit rock bottom in that castle, right? Is what your bottom is. For me, I was going in and out of prison, selling drugs in the Tenderloin here. And what got my attention was when I got out of prison, they said, you got to be careful. You got to be real careful, because there's this guy out here and he's robbing drug dealers, right? It turns out to be a very violent man, and he's robbing people who sold drugs. Now I was doing pretty good. They knew who I was, right? But so far I hadn't met this person, but it was never any kind of confrontation or anything like that. Casually, just passing. It's just a little deal kind of thing. But one day I came out of my hotel and he had hemmed up this friend of mine. He claimed that the friend of mine owed him $20, right? Now here's how I transgressed him. I said, what does he owe you? Right? And whatever it was, $20, $25, whatever it is, I just gave him the money. So he would leave my friend alone, right? From that very moment, this man is stalking me now. Every time I leave a different hotel, I got to be looking around. Where's he at? Right? So he said, I disrespect for him by getting in his business. You see, they don't give a fuck what the reason is. They don't make no goddamn sense, girl. I want to rob you, and I'm going to find a reason to do it, right? And so then one day, I was coming out of this apartment of another friend of mine. We call ourselves friends, but you know, it's mostly drugs. And this guy's behind me. He comes out between, no, he's in front of me. He comes out between two parked cars. When I identified who that was, I ran out into the middle of traffic, figuring that, right, I could lose him in traffic. And he came out in the middle of the street and he broke a beer bottle over my head, right? So I'm laying out in damn tenderloin, girl, blood gushing, you know, head wounds bleed, blood gushing from my head, right? And this person thought he was destroying me, but actually that incident saved my world. It saved my life, right? Soon after that, I was sent, he ran, and the ironic, the irony of it was I never carried drugs in my backpack. He just got my gym clothes and a camera or some shit, girl. And he just ran, left me in the street, right? But it woke me up. And so I went to prison, to CMC, his other prison. I immediately started questioning, am I going to let these people kill me? Because people will kill you for drugs, right? He don't know how hard he hit me or if another car was going to come by and speed by and crush my goddamn ass, right? He had no idea. I said, Timothy, are you going to let these people kill you? Right? And ironically, also at that same time, they had come up with this drug cocktail for HIV/AIDS. Wait a minute. Is there a possibility that I could actually live? Because you got to remember now, I was diagnosed with HIV in 1986, right? I'd already have it 20-some years, child. So now that when I got back, I started going to church services, and I just kept going and going and going. And I kept reading the Bible and reading the Bible and reading the Bible in hopes that something would click in me and I would get the power to stop, right? Correct. Because I had known people who had turned to religion, my mother being one of them. She never had a problem with alcohol or anything like that. But when she turned to religion, she really turned, right? And my grandmother, she had been in the church for 60 years, right? I said, wait a minute. When God enters these people's lives, it stays, doesn't go away, right? It is power, outside power coming into these people and changing them in many ways. My grandmother told me, girl, this is how I was able to get out of the bad marriage. Before God, there was nothing. I was sitting there. I had no idea. I had no idea that I had it within me to leave that dude. That's the story I just told you, right? What am I talking about? I do tend to get a little carried away. At any rate, when that boy thought he had fucked my life up, it actually changed my whole damn world. It woke me up in my thinking about how serious this thing was that I was in. I mean, never mind, I went to prison 10 times, girl. You would think 1 or 2 times going to prison would be enough. But no, I was so involved in that drugs, not only in it as getting high, but also in it as a way of life. I was so involved in it. And it never even occurred to me to stop until then. Right? So I would say that was my bottom. That was like hitting rock bottom. So I started going to church, and when I hit the streets again, it just didn't have the same flavor. I mean, I wasn't even enjoying it. Right? I said, this is just a burden. Going this place, that place, that place, your life always at risk and all this kind of shit, girl. And you don't even enjoy having sex with people, right? Because your mind is being changed. So it only took one more time to go to jail, girl. And that was it. Oh, I was saying these protease inhibitors. So that means that now they have drugs where I'm gonna be dying, because for the last many years of my life, I felt like my life was just about over. So I didn't want to sit up there and feel like I'm a dying person. So drugs were the answer for me, right? But now there's a possibility that I could live on the other side of that, girl. Why do the drugs? Anyway, all that was the bottom for me. That was my bottom. And then God with his sense of humor. The last time I went to prison, the guy who had attacked me on the street, he was 2 cells over. Oh my God. This boy was 2 cells over from me. And then he made amends best he could. We were in jail, so you weren't high. Many times that's the best you ever gonna see them because they're not high on anything, right? But that was my story. And now here I am 20 years later. So don't give up, Misunderstood. I know I'm behind on my chat. Let me see. That's what the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous is, though, honey. It's all about having had a spiritual awakening as a result of working these steps. The steps are all written in the Bible. They're spiritual principles that have been around for 6,000 years. When I was in the pen, I had nothing but time on my hand. Time was on my side. And I would line up the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, and then the Bible. And I made it my mission. I said, all 12 steps are from the Bible. And in fact, Bill Wilson, the one guy who wrote the Bible, co-wrote it, his first visitation was from the Catholic Church, the Catholic priest, right? And he got a lot of his training from them. His thing was, I realized this is happening for myself. Now, how do I carry the message to help other people? So he wrote a book, him and Dr. Bob. Was his name Dr. Bob? I think so. There you go, Unc. There you go. Y'all get Meth Monster. Most people already got it. Some of the demons get it so they can have something. They can try to figure out what I did when I was 16 years old, girl. Many times also, people, that even though you've been fucking up in your youth, because I see people on the street and I'm just saying, oh my God, when you look at these people's faces, I said, yeah, he could be no more than 19, 20 years old. So many times people who are fucked up on drugs, they are young. And many times, and at some point, they'll snap to their senses, girl. It won't be like, oh, I'm a helpless drug addict kind of thing. They'll snap to their senses at a certain age. Something that was cute when you were 20 was not going to be cute when you're 40, right? What was just great to say. But the trick is, particularly if you're out there selling drugs, a lot of the black people, they don't understand it, but poverty make you do strange things. Here I go struggling. Let me see. Many times when you're selling drugs, where I was at, yeah, you're putting your life in jeopardy, right? So either you're going to end up in prison forever, because we got 3 strikes here. Fortunately for me, I never got 3 strikes because I never committed a violent crime. If you commit a violent crime, first crime, then you have 2 other crimes of any kind, they give you 3 strikes and you're just gone. They're just for life. You can end up in a situation like that, or you can end up dead. So can you survive to become a senior citizen? Most senior citizens are not out there smoking crack and shooting up meth, right? The trick is to get there. To get to be old enough. You know what kind of people are dying out there. The kids. These people shooting each other up all over the damn place. A lot of times, hell, they are young people. All these school shootings, people not even, 18, 19 years old, killing, murdering people and stuff. Whatever. I got sidetracked. Let me see. Preach it. Preach it, Uncle Tio, Mr. Tio. Tell that story. Mm-hmm. Y'all ever read The Bluest Eye? The Bluest Eye by, here I go. She said she was in church and the lady in front of her, Toni Morrison, she wrote a story called The Bluest Eye, and the woman in church, he always said, preach it, preach it. We have a couple of those in our church as well. Mm-hmm. She has kids and they don't have time for her empathy. Okay, let's go for the negative. LaSonia Allen. I hear you, but she has kids and they don't have time for her empathy to come. Okay. Is this woman a falling down drunk where she doesn't function at all? Because I've seen people on here much more drunk than she appears to be. She says she does drugs. She ain't the only one that does drugs, baby. I'm sorry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, child. Right? So you're saying her kids should be in foster care? Is that what you're saying, Lysandra? Or maybe the mama just needs to do better and get better. And she obviously she has a desire to do that, or she wouldn't be talking about it. Drug addicts they don't talk about it, and they ain't spending all their time on the goddamn YouTube either. So yes, it's terrible when you have kids. It's terrible when you have a wife, it's terrible when people steal their grandmama's TV. Girl, she ain't got nothing to do but sit there and watch TV. You stole the damn TV. It's terrible. Drugs are always terrible. But judge not, lest ye be judged, honey. That's Bible there. Judge Toni Morrison, The Bluest Eye. Was that church scene in The Bluest Eye? I believe so. I read 2 or 3 of her books. Preach it. The brilliant Miss Toni Morrison. It's a shame that everybody gets old and everybody passes away. Yep, that's a legend. Another one. Let's see. LaSonia, yes, she has kids, but she does have kids. So what do you do with that? Do you throw the kids, take the kids away, throw them away? Are the kids better off in foster care? Is that what you think? What do you do with that? Judge you not, honey. A lot of people have been through stuff. You don't know why the people have been through stuff. You ain't got no idea. People judge. They have all these judgments. Oh, you're junkie walking in the twilight. She's a long, long way from home. She left home 3 days ago. Sonia, you keep saying, kick it, quit it, Lord. But did you ever try to turn your sick soul inside out so that the world can watch you die? Baby, unless you've been there, you don't know. You don't know what she's going through. You don't know. When you see a crazy man on the street, out in the middle of the damn street, drawers falling down, dirty feet and all that, you have no idea what that man has been through. You don't know, honey. That's why I say judge ye not. She doesn't appear to be an old woman. People over here, they're so pure when they get on YouTube, right? They ain't pure. I lived too long, honey. Uncle Tim, what do you think about drug addicts who are your age? I feel for them. I pray for them. I pray for the young ones. I pray for the young ones' youth and for the people who never made it out. Because see, when you get really into drugs, it's hard, baby. It is hard to get out. If you've been doing that shit for 15, 20, 30 years, it can be very hard. You got no skills. You have no, I don't know. When you're getting high, all you think about is getting high, right? It's a much easier way of life. Even though from the outside, it appears to be a very hard way of life. All the jails and all the crime and all the stealing and scheming and all that stuff. It seems that way to the outsider. But to the person who is high on drugs, that's why they're high on drugs, because they don't feel that way about it, child. They just living from hit to hit. $20 here, $40 here, go see the dope man. $20 here, $40 here, go see the dope man. It's just a cycle. Eventually, you don't even care where you live. You don't care where you lay down. You don't care about nothing but the next hit, right? And if you do that long enough, yes, you can end up like these people who have wasted so much time getting high. They don't know anything else. So we got to hope the people make it out. And millions of people do make it out. The rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous are actually packed. They're full, standing room only in the back, child. People with 10, 15, 20 years sobriety, right? You don't know who's going to get it or when they're going to get it. You got family, you love them, love them. When they write you from prison, answer those letters, right? Because that's the only time they're really clear-headed is when they're in prison or they're in jail. I ain't saying you got to go in there and try to rescue them, but you can talk to them because that's the clearest conversation you're ever going to get if they're a real drug addict. Nobody knows if they're going to be a real drug addict or not. People online, they're smoking weed, they're smoking blunts, they're doing all this shit, and they feel like they're invincible. Oh, I just smoke a little weed. Girl, I started off smoking a little weed. That's how I started, child. I smoked a little weed for 5 years before I even thought about any other drugs. Eventually, the weed don't work. Yeah, so you hope people make it out. Many times people don't have responsibilities, though. I mean, I do feel for people, kids who are raised by drug addicts and so forth. But that's just the reality of what it is. It is worse when you have kids, so forth. But a lot of the people who don't have children or who have abandoned their children or men who have walked away, they don't really have anchors. They don't have responsibilities where they have to perform a certain way, right? And that's how you get deeper and deeper in, right? So a lot of people are responsible. A lot of women are responsible. I believe, it's my belief, that most women are not drug addicts, but a lot of women are more responsible. Why? Because they have responsibilities, right? Unfortunately, the men are usually the ones who stray, but the women are the anchor because they have responsibilities. They have kids who they're responsible for, and that makes you act a certain way. Hopefully. But don't write that woman off. She seems to be lucid. She can talk. Eventually, she gonna get some furniture. And funny, I thought she lived in my building because she got the same apartment, girl. She has the same apartment. If you strip this place down, the floor mat, I mean the layout. I wonder if it's the same builder. I don't know. Baby, LaSonia, okay. LaSonia says, LaSonia Allen, LaSandra Allen, let me see your name right. It's not about being pure. It's about getting the best solution for those that are weaker and can't fend for themselves. Baby, we all know that drugs is wrong. Hell, who don't know that? But who are you to pass judgment over somebody else's life, though, is the issue, honey. Is she able to come into your house and decide what is right for you or how to raise your kids or how to treat your man or who the man to be with? Or you made mistakes. Oh, you should never have left high school and you should have did this and you should have did that, girl. I mean, who are we to judge? Who? You're nobody, honey. Saved by the blood of the Christ. That's it. Encourage people, honey. If you ain't got nothing encouraging to say to them, it's better not to say anything. By the grace of God, I could be that person on dope. Therefore, I will not judge. That's the truth. It is the absolute truth, honey. You don't know who gonna get it. You at the club, honey, you do a little toot. You think you got it going on because you doing a little toot. Ooh, the D boys like me. They like me. The D. A week later, you got any more of that? Drugs are of the devil, honey. It will take your soul. We need never take other people's humanity away. Always trying to decrease people and make them lesser than. They ain't lesser than your ass, child. A lot of people don't come through drug addiction. And when they come through drug addiction, then you see who they really are. And they're a whole lot better than you, girl. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. When people have you feel like you stupid, you're worthless, and you weak, and all this kind of shit, girl. And then when they get clean, Miss Thing, they now they look down on you because he says you're the piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Her ex-husband is a doctor. Oh, Oh, so you're familiar with the lady. I don't want to speak on it because I don't know the lady. I don't know the woman. I know something about drug addiction. I don't see her like these people I see outside my window or walking around San Francisco, no shoes on, or sleeping outside. She has gone down that far. And perhaps she will stop. You know, a lot of these people who y'all make these celebrities, y'all put them up on high, and what they do and what they kind of hairstyle they have, and all these people in show business showing up in different towns, going on tours around the world, and all this kind of shit. Girl, they number drug addicts. They drug addicts. You don't see it, so you don't run your mouth about it. How many people in here are alcoholics? You know, some people are alcoholics to the day they die. So you believe that the ones who do drugs, they shouldn't be parents, but the ones who drink alcohol should be parents? Because alcohol sales are way up, honey. It's a bit multi-billion-dollar industry. You can go to the store and get buy your bag of alcohol. How's that better than a drug that you buy on the street? They ain't no different. Same thing. You're still hooked. Men get home, soon as you get home, you start drinking. Still pays his bills. That's the judgment. Celebrities are the worst addicts. Hell yes, child. You got to go up there and sing when you don't feel like it. You don't feel like you're being funny today, except you're responsible for 30 people. And they done moved trucks of equipment to different towns. And you got to get your ass out there on stage. What you going to do? So a lot of these record producers have been guilty of actually encouraging their people to do drugs. Why? Because they want them on stage. They perform better when they're high. I'm not saying that's the truth, but that's the thinking, honey. Just get your ass out there. They don't care. I lived in Hollywood, child. And I had my season on the whole lane. And many people, honey, they did drugs, girl. They did drugs. Why? How do I know? Because I did them with them. So you're going to determine who's worthless. Because the woman told you the truth. You'd rather have a liar. I know people who die from drinking is much worse to me. See, crystal meth is never going to make you go home and beat your wife up. Crystal meth doesn't make you beat your children with extension cords, right? Crystal meth doesn't make you go out there, generally speaking, does not make you go out there and have drunk drivings and kill people. It don't have you just babbling incoherently, right? All drugs have a different side effect, child. And I do not believe that alcohol is any better than the rest of them. The country just could not control alcohol, so they had to make it legal, right? Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't drink or anything like that. Not everybody becomes an addict or drunk, but the effects of alcohol can be so much worse than the effects of weed or many other drugs, right? A lot of these opiates, all they do is they just nod all day. They're pretty well useless, but they're not violent, right? So I don't think alcoholics are any better off than drug addicts. It's the same thing to me. Yes, at one point I identified myself as an alcoholic. This was back in the clubbing days, back in the 80s. Yeah, 80, 84, 85. Because I went out and drank every single night, right? And I called myself an alcoholic when I went to Alcoholics Anonymous. But I haven't had a drink since definitely since like 85. Right? So am I a real alcoholic? How can you be an alcoholic? You ain't drank in 45 years. When you haven't even addressed the issue, right? I traded the alcohol for drugs, and essentially it's the same damn thing. It's just which drug I was using. Domestic, well, y'all know that the motherfuckers get drunk and beat your ass, child. That's what it is. Alcohol is one of the worst when you abuse it. When you abuse anything, Amy Winehouse. Are you a fan of Amy Winehouse? They say no, no, no. Yep. So many people. All those rock and roll people. Look at all the ones that died at 27. All the ones we call superstar, their whole life is over at 27 years old. Musicians, people who tour, People who got to get on the stage, no matter how they feel, and you have responsibilities to perform, it's not unusual. What happened with Whitney Houston could happen to anybody. You do it enough. Let this sang the blues. She got 'em back. She feels so sad. Wants the world to know just what her blues is all about. The blues ain't nothing but a pain in your heart. When you've got a bad start, you and your man have to part. Baby, Lady Sings the Blues will preach, honey. Watch. I never dreamed. I used to work at the Uptown Theater in Indianapolis, Indiana. That was my first job. That movie played in our theater 16 weeks, which was unheard of, right? We always played them a week or two. 16 weeks she was there. Lady Sings the Blues. I never even dreamed that I would ever do drugs, girl. I thought that was the worst thing in the world could happen to a person. And look what happened. I ain't no better than the rest of them, child. Lady Sings the Blues, Billie Holiday. Billy, that's me. Oh, my hand to fall off. Love when y'all sing. Oh, that's nice. Some of them are saying, "Ooh, another song." It makes me want to sing, girl. I just did my COVID test because I got this cough for a few days. I'm not sick, but they have this variant going around. So I said I might as well test, and it comes out negative. I don't got no COVID. That's good. The home test. A lot of people, though, are discovering that the home test is not that effective. It's not always effective, not 100%. When you go to an actual clinic, you might get a different result. I hear you, Alfreda Gross. I'm trying to adhere to that. You know it's hard, right? You can't argue with a ghost, however. Queen of Hearts says some people do drugs to fit in or because they can. They might not be in a hard circumstance that led them to do drugs. Exactly. Look at all these damn what do you call these spring breaks? All these kids going out there. You think they're not high? They're not drunk? Come on, people. Young people party. Even college students, child, they party. They get high. They go to the club. They meet men. They meet women. They dance. They do all that shit, right? They don't know who's going to come out an addict, right? I never dreamed I'd be a drug addict. Never even occurred to me, child. It's just something that occurred. My situation with meth was I would get so drunk that I could not enjoy myself anymore. To start off with alcohol, right? But after a couple, 2, 3 drinks, I'd be always drunk all the time, right? And somebody said, you need to try some of this. And I did this little toot of crystal meth, and all of a sudden I was like this, right? And then the finest guy in the bar, I went right over to him. Hey, when I left the bar, I left with that guy. I had never done that in my life. Meth gave me balls, honey. It ended up costing me 17 years because I loved it. If you don't love it, baby, you're not going to do it. It does something for you, child. That's why they're dangerous. It is dangerous to do drugs. It is because you don't know what you're going to get. I've seen people who are fine. It's one white guy. You know, I like white guys sometimes. Every now and then. I like a little cream every now and again. Anyway, this guy used to get on a bus when he lived in Diamond Heights. And this boy was fine. He was like a German. I think he was like an immigrant because he spoke German. I heard him talk one time. Anyway, he was gorgeous, tall, healthy. You know, he was beautiful. About 23, 24 years old. So I saw that guy in a CVS like 2 years later, and you would think that this was a homeless bum on the street. I knew exactly what it was. It was meth. He had sores all in his face. It will destroy you. Y'all trying to drag me into the conversation. It ain't gonna happen, baby. We made it. Looks like we made it. With a whole video without that name. Like poison. All right, y'all have a wonderful Monday. Thank y'all for coming in. I hope we didn't offend. Don't give up on people. Pray for them. Send them positive energy and positive thoughts. You don't know what's going to happen. But it's up to the person, not you. Later, people.